In this video, you will find puzzles that will test your survival skills. You will need to use logic and intelligence to get out of deadly situations alive. In the comments below the video, be sure to share how many riddles you were able to solve. Number 1. In a distant kingdom, a criminal is sentenced to death for a crime he did not commit. The criminal was led to the blazing fire on which he was to be burned. But the king took pity and decided to give the poor man one last chance to escape. A cauldron was placed before the prisoner, which was filled to the top with water. The king said there was a key at the bottom of the cauldron. If the prisoner can reach this key without touching the water, he is free. Otherwise he will be burned at the stake. Help the prisoner. How can he get the key out of the cauldron and escape? By showing ingenuity, the prisoner could avoid execution. He was about to be burned at the stake, which was already burning. So the prisoner can put the cauldron on the fire and wait until all the water has boiled away, and then take out the key. That way he won't come into contact with the water. Number 2. A brave knight is captured by an evil sorcerer. The sorcerer offered to play a strange game. If the knight wins, he will be released. If not, the sorcerer will destroy him. On the table in front of the knight lie 10 silver coins and 10 gold coins. They have exactly the same shape and do not differ in weight. There are also 2 plates on the table. The knight must place all the coins on the 2 plates as he wishes. But no plate must be left empty. Then the sorcerer blindfolds the knight and swaps the plates at random. The blindfolded knight will have to take 1 coin from one of the plates. If the coin is gold, the knight will be released, but if not, the sorcerer will destroy him. Help the knight. How can he put the coins on the plates so that he can choose the gold coin with his eyes closed? The knight does not have a completely safe option. He can only increase his chances of winning. He must initially put all but 1 gold coin into 1 plate. The only gold coin should be put in the other plate. Then even if blindfolded, the knight will not choose a plate with 1 gold coin. The chances of choosing a gold coin will be almost 50%. Number 3. An anonymous source told police that the kidnapper was holding his victim in a house on the outskirts of town. The police arrived and found 2 people there. They were handcuffed to the wall and each of them claimed that he was the one who had been kidnapped and that the other man was the kidnapper. The police took fingerprints from both men. Experts also found fingerprints in different parts of the room. Assess the situation and tell us which of the 2 men is the kidnapper and which is the victim. Using logic, one can easily solve this puzzle. Only one of the men's fingerprints was found on the door. If he left the room, then he is the kidnapper. And the one who was really kidnapped was handcuffed to the wall the whole time and couldn't even reach the door. Number 4. You find yourself in the castle where the old sorcerer lives. He promised to let you go if you solve his puzzle, and if you can't, you'll never get out of the castle alive. There are 5 peaches in front of you and some of them are poisoned. You need to take a bite out of one of the peaches. Which ones are safe and why? You could see caterpillars in 2 of the 5 peaches. So the fruit is definitely not poisoned, or the caterpillars wouldn't have survived. Please like if you answered correctly. Number 5. There was an earthquake in the city. Traffic was stopped everywhere, electricity and water supplies were cut off. Shortly before the earthquake happened, a man was kidnapped and locked in an old house. The kidnappers died in the earthquake, but the man survived. But there is one problem: there are 4 doors in front of him. Behind the first door, the exit is blocked with stones, and behind the second door there are huge electric saws that will chop a man to pieces in the blink of an eye. Behind the third door everything is filled with poison, which can completely dissolve the body. Behind the fourth door are many poisonous snakes. The man has only one chance to choose the door, as the tremors continue and the building is about to collapse. What door should he choose? If you listened carefully to the conditions, you will have noticed that there was a power outage due to the earthquake. Consequently, it is absolutely safe behind a door with electric saws, because they simply do not work. This is the right door. Number 6. John went on a cruise ship trip on the Atlantic Ocean. One day he stood on the deck and admired the scenery. At that moment the liner swung sideways and John fell overboard. While in the water, John noticed a shark approaching him. Help John, what should he do? There are 3 options: try to swim away from the shark as fast as possible. The second option is to try to grab its fin and jump on its back. The third option is to wait for the shark to swim close and attack it in the eye area. Which option does John choose to save himself? Alas, John has no guaranteed escape option, but he should not try to swim away from the shark. They can reach speeds of up to 50 kilometers per hour. The average speed at which a person can swim is 2 kilometers per hour. Therefore, this option is not suitable. Trying to grab a shark by its fin and saddle, it is also a futile venture that is doomed to fail. The most appropriate course of action for John would be option number 3. First you have to wait for the shark to swim quite close. This means that it has decided to attack. At this point, you should hit the shark in the eyes and nose. These are vulnerable areas of the shark and can scare them off. Number 7. One day an evil sorcerer kidnapped the princess and locked her up in his castle. The brave knight went through many trials to save the princess and finally made it to the castle. When he went in, he found 3 doors and they were all locked. Suddenly a sorcerer's voice sounded, saying that the princess could be saved behind the 4th door. The knight searched the whole castle, but there were only 3 doors. How to save the princess? To find the 4th door, you have to use your ingenuity. You see incomprehensible icons on the doors. But if these icons are mentally divided into 2 parts, it is clear that they are numbers. Now the knight can easily save the princess. Number 8. A daring explorer walked in search of treasure. There was a huge field on his way and he decided not to go around it, but to walk through the field. When he got halfway across, he noticed a sign that the entire field was mined. The explorer does not know exactly where the mines are located. How can he leave the field alive and unharmed? So, the correct answer is, given that the explorer has already traversed half the field and is alive, the safest option is to go back along the same route. Number 9, a logical riddle. In a distant kingdom, a criminal is sentenced to death. But the local king was very fond of riddles and said that if the criminal could solve the puzzle, he would be released. The king drew a 2-meter line on the ground with his foot and asked the criminal to make it half as long. This line cannot be touched. So how do you solve this puzzle? In fact, the solution is very simple. The perpetrator simply needs to draw a line on the ground 4 meters long. Then the king's line will be half as long. Number 10. In search of treasure, the intrepid traveler found himself in an abandoned castle. As soon as he was there, the doors slammed shut and a terrible voice said that the traveler could only leave the castle through one of the 4 doors. Each one leads to freedom. But behind the first door is a tribe of wild natives who kill all outsiders. Behind the second door lurks a hungry lion and a hungry wolf. Behind the third door is a huge fire. Behind the fourth door is 100 venomous snakes. The traveler has a gun with only 1 bullet. Which door should he choose to survive? Of course, there is no completely safe exit option. But if the traveler chooses the second door, he has the best chance of being saved. If there was a hungry lion and a hungry wolf, then one of them had already eaten the other. So the traveler will be able to deal with the remaining animal with a single round. Everything will depend on his marksmanship. Number 11. 2 tourists went on a trip to Africa. They wanted to explore wild places and see different animals. For this they needed an experienced guide. 3 candidates said they could do the job and offered special bonuses for tourists. The first candidate said he would procure meat for free, with which they could bait hippos and rhinos to see them up close. The second candidate suggested giving tourists free weapons for the duration of the trip for self-defense, as some animals are dangerous. The third candidate said that he knew secret places where hippos live and that he would have to go up to them and even pet them. Which guide should the hikers choose? A knowledge of biology will help you solve this riddle. Rhinoceroses and hippos are herbivores and do not eat meat. In addition, they are very aggressive, so it is deadly to get close to them and pet them. Accordingly, conductors number 1 and 3 are completely ignorant of their business and it is dangerous to go on a trip with them. Tourists need to choose guide number 2. Don't forget to write in the comments how many riddles you solved. Like, subscribe, click on the bell to keep up with new videos and comment on this video.